Doing live, and we are live now. Hopefully we can get some viewers on my stream soon. But today we are doing some severe weather coverage as we have a potential for a few tornadoes, maybe even a couple strong tornadoes across southern Alabama, the Florida Panhandle, and the portion of southwestern Georgia. If you haven't watched my weather forecast from this morning, I would recommend you go watch that. But um, let's get my screen up on here so we are. You can see right now we have some severe thunderstorm warnings out here. Um, right now we're one severe thunderstorm warning up here. We have a severe thunderstorm warning, tornado possible tag, and this is moving over Ozark right now. It's going to move up towards Abbeville, Alabama. So if you're in Abbeville, Alabama, make sure you are watching out for that. We could have a potential for a tornado, mainly up in this area here. We actually do have a few areas of rotation. If we go down to here, you can see we have an area of rotation right in here near Lytle, Geneva, Alabama. So if you're in Geneva, Alabama area, watch out for that. We also have another area of rotation down here near Devonian Springs, Florida. I believe that's in Florida, yeah. We do have this one area of rotation right there. And I would watch that right here for a tornado threat in the long term there. But then we just some severe thunderstorms, maybe a couple spin up tornadoes could occur within the next 30 minutes to an hour. Actually, let's go over the Storm Prediction Center outlook here. If you have just joined and you're wondering why there isn't a live chat, I don't know. It's just not showing up. I don't know why, but we're just gonna have to deal with it here. But here I'll get the Storm Prediction Center outlook up here and stop showing my screen and then share that one there. Let's actually see if I can just do that and then take it over there. Alright, and then we will full screen YouTube and then full screen. There we go. So here's our Storm Prediction Center outlook for today. You can see there is a slight risk of severe weather across southern Alabama, the Florida Panhandle to southwestern Georgia in that area. We have a 5% tornado risk for today. We have a tornado warning. I'll cover that once we get back into the radar, but we have a 5% tornado risk across southern Alabama, southwestern Georgia, Florida Panhandle, where our main tornado risk will be, and it's actually playing out pretty well right now since we have a tornado warning in the Florida Panhandle now. 15% wind risk across southern Alabama, Florida Panhandle, southwestern Georgia. Some sky-damaging wind gusts up to 70 miles an hour are possible in those areas. That's what we've been seeing, and no hail risk. Let's go back to the radar now, because we do have a tornado warning in Florida. Stream title here, live tornado warning in Florida. There we go. So we now officially have a tornado warning in Florida for the storm near Devonian Springs. I literally just called that out. That is a strong area of rotation there. So if you're in Devonian Springs, Douglas Crossroads, Ponce de Leon, Bayou Crossing, Hickory Hill, Balance Crossing, Union, Pleasant Grove, Center Ridge, Piney Grove, be in your safe spot because we could have a tornado at the ground at any time. Let's see, do we have a debris signature? We have a debris signature. We have a tornado on the ground here heading towards Devonian Springs, I believe. Let's check if it's actually legitimate rotation. Let's see if that's actually a legitimate debris ball. Let's overlay that. Not sure right now, but that does line up pretty well with the velocity couplet, so I will say that could be a tornado on the ground. Let's read another scan before we officially call it a tornado, though. I don't want to call it a tornado if it's just like clear air. We have a couple areas of rotation up here. We have one here and one here near Geneva. I wouldn't be surprised if they issue a tornado warning for Geneva, Alabama, and you can see that rotation is getting very close to Geneva, Alabama. It's entering the town right now. So if you know anyone in Geneva, Alabama, let them know about this because there's an area of rotation that could produce a tornado potentially there. Let's see any areas of rotation up here. Let's see. Not seeing anything too significant on reflectivity and velocity, mainly just some damaging winds. Let's go back down to our Florida storm. We're going to stay on this storm a lot because that is where we have our active tornado warning. And we may have a tornado on the ground here. Let's see. Do we still have that on this? Nope, it dissipated. That was very interesting. We may have just had a tornado near Piney Grove and Liberty in Florida, a brief tornado. It's kind of hard to tell because that also could have just been clear air contamination, but it did last a couple of scans. Once we go and do the surveys, we'll find out if that's a tornado or just corruption from the radar, like the clear air. Let's see. The hook is wrapping up very good there. The tornado potential is definitely increasing on this storm now. It's a good thing they issued that tornado warning. You can see we do have some rotation trying to form up here. So if you are near, if you know anyone near the Phoenix Springs in Florida, to the northwest, to the north, to the northeast there, just let them know about this storm because this could produce a tornado just to the north of that area. Going back to Geneva, Alabama, area rotations right over town there. Not the strongest area of rotation, but I won't be surprised if we get a tornado warning on that there because that's a little decent area of rotation there. Not seeing anything tornado-wise, but I will watch that for a tornado within the next 30 minutes there. And going back up here to our storm near Abbeville, Alabama, you can see generally just some damaging wind gusts, nothing tornadic. If you have just joined my stream, we are doing some severe weather coverage right now because we have a couple strong areas of rotation here. One is right over the town of Geneva, Alabama, or Geneva, depending on how they pronounce that. Decent low area of rotation there. Wouldn't be surprised if they issue a tornado warning on that. And then we have one active tornado warning here down in Florida, where we have a area of rotation near Phoenix Springs, Florida. And let's see, that is actually maybe not as good looking on this scan, but it definitely could tighten up again and produce another tornado if it hasn't already. It may have produced a brief tornado earlier. You can see the rotation is a little weaker, but again, it could always wrap up again and produce another tornado if it did earlier. I'm not sure about that, but there was a debris signature there earlier. Going back to the Geneva storm, Geneva, definitely still a strong area of rotation there. You can see we have a nice little hook there. And going to our correlation coefficient, nothing really. There's that there, but that's probably just clear air contamination. Nothing too concerning, but they probably should still issue a tornado warning on that because that could produce a tornado at any time at this point. We also have some storms just off the coast here. Going to these. Let's see if we have any areas of rotation. We have a couple areas of rotation at those that will eventually move on land here near Panama City area. So if you're in Panama City or just to the west or to the south of that, make sure you are paying attention to those storms there. I will keep an eye on those. I think I'm mainly going to focus on this storm here and this storm up here. I'll go around a little bit. So going back to our Geneva, Alabama storm, you can see still nice hook there. This is what we've been concerned about today, not like super long track tornadoes, strong tornadoes. Well, there's potential of a long track strong tornado today if we can't get supercells to fire ahead of the line. But it's mainly just the spin up tornadoes here, which can still do damage, they can still kill people, and they can actually occur between radar scans, which is what makes them even more dangerous. Usually they're weak, but they can sometimes be strong. Oh yeah, there is a decent area of rotation there. I'm surprised they haven't tornado warned that yet. Going back to our storm over Center Ridge right now. A little bit more rotation starting to form over Center Ridge, Florida right now. I'll watch that for a tornado threat soon. If you've just joined, we are just checking out some areas of rotation here. One of them's near Geneva, Alabama. Another one here down in Center Ridge, Florida. Really anywhere along this line, reverse rotation could produce a tornado. We have broad rotation across a large area of this line. Is that rotation here, or is that just clear air? Ooh, that might be concerning there. We'll have to watch that for a tornado threat. Actually, is that an unwarned tornado? It's too hard to. That could be a debris ball, but I'm not sure. But we may have an unwarned tornado here near Pinkard, Alabama, just to the southeast of Newton, to the west of Midland City, Alabama here. If you know anyone there, let them know about this, because there could be a tornado on the ground here. It's a little close to the radar, but you can see debris ball, velocity, reflectivity. That could be a tornado on the ground right now. You can see we have a supercell look to that. Yeah, that definitely could be a tornado on the ground. Classic embedded supercell look to that. I'll watch if that does get strong, because with this embedded supercell, this definitely could become a decent little tornado there. If you've just joined, we may have a tornado on the ground right here near Pinkard, Alabama, to the west of Midland City here. Not too sure, but that does look like a tornado on the ground there. That does appear to be a tornado on the ground. Let's see if they warn that for a tornado here. Let's wait for the next scan and see what happens. Let's see. Yep, we have a next scan in. Let's go to our correlation coefficient. We want correlation coefficient. Not there anymore, but that could have just been a brief tornado just to the west of Midland City, Alabama, where we had that debris signature. And we did have that velocity couplet there. Going back down to our Florida storm, we now have a tornado on the ground in Florida here. Let's see, is it on radar? Let's actually check out. Is this radar confirmed? Let's see if we did have a debris signature there. I'm not seeing a whole lot there. That's weird. I don't know why they even confirmed that, because I'm not seeing a debris signature there, really. But there could be a tornado on the ground here, so if you're all the way to the north of Phoenix Springs, Florida, all the way to Ponce de Leon, I would stay in your safe spot, because there could be a tornado there. Going back to our Geneva storm here, the storm that just went through Geneva, Alabama a little bit ago. Generally still have that broad rotation, maybe not as strong there anymore. We definitely could have had a brief tornado over the town there. And looking back at our storm here near Midland City, Definitely still an area of rotation, very not as strong as it was, but this again could produce a tornado within the next 30 to 60 minutes here. We have a new radar scan in. Let's go to our correlation coefficient to see if we have anything unusual. Not seeing anything unusual on our correlation coefficient, which is good, but we may have had a brief tornado a little bit ago, generally right in this area here, near Pinkard, Alabama, just to the west of Midland City. And that is from an embedded supercell from the line. You can see that's a pretty decent embedded supercell there. Looking at our storm down in Florida here, starting to get messy. Probably not going to have much more tornado potential after this. But we need to watch the whole line for tornadoes because they can really spin up quickly and anything can happen with these storms. But not seeing anything too concerning as of now, which is good. Going up to our winter storm part of this, we do have some ice storm warnings up here. So if you're in this area, northern Georgia into northern South Carolina, all the way into southern North Carolina, I would watch that area for some ice accumulations. Let's see what we're saying here for ice accumulations. Up between 2 and 4 tenths of an inch, which is enough to cause some troubles there. Going back down to our line here, we have some new severe thunderstorm warnings here. This now includes Dothan, Alabama, Bakley, Georgia, Abbeville, Alabama. So make sure you're staying indoors in those areas. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning in Florida too, and southern Alabama, southeastern Alabama here. That includes Chipley, Florida, Mariana, Florida, Bonifay, Florida, and Hartford, Alabama. Maybe a sliver of a town there. Going back to our Florida tornado warning, not seeing anything concerning at all anymore for rotation. They probably should just let that expire at this point. Still have a decent little area of rotation up here near to the south of Hartford, Alabama. It's broader than it was before, but that's still a little concerning there. And going up here to our new severe thunderstorm warning up here. Waiting for it to load. You can see we do have an area of rotation near Midland City here, and we do have a couple areas of rotation along the line here. Nothing too concerning as of now, but if I had to guess, we've probably had about 2 tornadoes since I started the stream, maybe 3. So this event is definitely performing with our brief tornadoes. Not seeing cells ahead of the line, which should limit our strong tornado threat, but still we will likely still see some more tornadoes here, and that would not be good as they got strong with any supercells that did form ahead of the line here. I'm going to go for a minute, but I will be right back, so don't leave the stream. Alright, I am back here. Let's resume our tornado coverage here. Right now this storm's not looking so good for tornadic potential anymore. Going up to this area, Mertage is much broader now. Going up to Abbeville, Alabama, Abbeville, Alabama. I don't know how to pronounce that. We have a couple areas of rotation just to the east, southeast of Midland City. We'll have to watch those for a tornado threat, especially this northern one here near Grimes, Alabama. The storm is now approaching Dothan, Alabama. We'll see if we get a tornado here. Not seeing anything for tornadic potential soon for Dothan, Alabama, but I'll continue to watch that as we could really get a tornado within anywhere along here on our line. If that include, and in the long term, it'll generally head in this direction. If that includes Dothan, Alabama, so we'll see if we get a spin up tornado in Dothan, Alabama. Hopefully not, though. We still have the Bay Area rotation down here, more broad than it was earlier, but generally not as concerning, but still of concern here near south of Hartford, southeast of Hartford, Alabama, and nothing really for tornadic potential anymore with the storm in Florida here. If you have just joined my stream, we are doing some live tornado coverage as we still have a potential for a few more brief spin-up tornadoes and even more tornadoes if we can get a couple of semi-discrete supercells to form ahead of our line here, which is unlikely as of now, but we might have to watch some of these out here for semi-discrete supercells. Looking at our storms near Midland City, Alabama, still have areas of rotation out here. Still, we now have a couple areas of rotation. If it'll ever load, let me select the velocities here. You can see we have a couple decent areas of rotation. Not sure for tornado warning wherever, but the northern one's probably a little stronger. And we now have a tornado warning for southern Alabama, including Hartford, Slocum, Taylor, Covarts, Ashford, Cottonwood, and Fayette, Alabama. If you're in these areas, make sure to stay in your safe spot now. If you know anyone in this area, in this pink polygon, let them know because we now have a tornado warning. We could see a tornado at any time here. And these per several towns of the path of this storm. This is very concerning. So if you're in these areas like Hartford, Taylor, Cottonwood, make sure you're in your safe spot. If you're in Cottonwood or Ashford, get to your safe spot now. Taylor, Stockholm, you need to be in your safe spot right now because it is going to go over you within the next few minutes. So again, we have a tornado warning including Hartford, Taylor, and Cottonwood in Alabama now. So make sure if you know anyone there to let them know about this and tell them to get to their safe spot. Definitely a decent area of rotation trying to form out here, though. Very, very concerning. We'll see what happens with that. Let's change my title here to make it a little less clickbaity or more like accurate. Live tornado warning in Alabama. Because the other one in Florida is probably going to be let to expire soon. Oh, yeah. We have a hook forming on that storm right now. That is not good. We have a tornado trying to form just to the south of Slocum, Alabama, to the southeast of Hartford, Alabama. So make sure in your safe spot if you're in these areas downstream of that. Taylor, Ashford, Cottonwood, make sure you're in your safe spots now. If you know anyone there, let them know to get to their safe spot. Yeah, area of rotation trying to form there. Decent low area of rotation trying to form there. Looking at our areas of rotation out here, a little more broad there, we have another area of rotation trying to tighten up if that will move into southern Dauphin, Alabama. That is not good. That is not good at all. That is very concerning. They might put a tornado warning on that soon. But it's just slightly to the north of our tornado warning. But probably put a separate tornado warning on that if it gets concerning enough, though. But that could definitely produce a sped up tornado as it gets into southern Dauphin there, which would be very concerning. So we're mainly going to focus on these two areas of rotation because those are both concerning there. This area seems to have a lot of tornadic potential if something actually touches down here. Waiting for our next radar scan that should come in any second now. If you continue to have a wrapping up hook there near Hartford and Slocomb in Alabama, so if you're in those areas here, watch out for this because that could get dangerous soon. Not seeing anything on correlation coefficient yet, thankfully. Hopefully we don't see anything on correlation coefficient with that. But we do have a stronger air rotation trying to form there, which is not good. Not good at all. Area rotation there moving generally to the east near Taylor. Doesn't look like Dawson, Alabama is really going to get much in terms of tornadoes, which is good, but you will likely still get some damaging wind gusts there, so make sure you watch out for that. I don't know if we still have that tornado warning down here in Florida, because if you look at it here, there's like no areas of rotation really, and definitely nothing to be. Oh wait, I am on Do Not Disturb. That's weird. I don't know why I got a notification. Maybe I have it set to even alert me when it's not when I'm on Do Not Disturb. Going back up here, we have a new radar scan coming in, and let's see what our new radar scan's gonna look like. Still a decent little hook there. We'll have to watch that. Maybe not as organized as the last scan, but still pretty significant at the hook there. Definitely gonna have to watch that for a tornado within the next 30 minutes there, if that can tighten up enough with our velocities. Let's wait to see what the latest scan shows of velocities. We start to get a little bit tighter, very little bit stronger rotation. Definitely gonna have to be worried about that there. We have another air rotation forming near Kinsley, Alabama, just to the northeast of Dothan, Alabama. I'll watch that for a tornado threat. Let's see if we have a little bit of a hook trying to form there. Yeah, kind of hard to tell there. But if you're in Headland, Alabama, and the storm's passing over you now, Dothan, Alabama, the storm's about to hit you. Make sure you just stay indoors and you should be good during this storm. Nothing tornadic for you guys. But down here near Slocomb, Alabama, I accidentally unplugged my light. Let's turn off. I accidentally unplugged my thing. That's not good. Let me turn the light down a little so it's not blinding. There we go. That should be enough light there. Right now we're covering this tornado warning here in southern Alabama, where we could have a tornado soon. Not as organized as it was. Tornado potential seems to be decreasing. We are starting to see a little bit of a hook form here just a bit east of Kinsey, Alabama. So if you're in that area there, make sure to watch out because we have a area of rotation forming there that could produce a brief tornado if that does tighten up eventually. In Dolphin, Alabama, you guys are about to get hit by the storm, mainly just some damaging wind gusts, nothing tornadic there. And our velocities don't seem to be super tight on our southern storm here. Probably not as tornadic as it was before, but obviously it could tighten up and produce a tornado at any time here. New severe thunderstorm warning down here, unless that's an old one. But obviously, stay in your safe spots here in case if you see a tornado, go to your safe spot. But generally, just stay indoors. We do have a couple areas of rotation down here that will eventually move on shore near Panama City, Florida. So I'll watch those in the next 30-60 minutes as they move on shore eventually. And generally, our rotation is getting very disorganized with our southern storm here. I wouldn't be surprised if a cancelable tornado warning if this trend continues. And we still have that area of rotation up here near Kinsey, Alabama. Do we have a debris ball? Oh, small, weak, unwarned tornado just to the east of Kinsey, Alabama, to the northwest of Webb, Alabama. If you're in the area, you're experiencing a weak, brief tornado that is on the ground there. Unwarned tornado on the ground in Alabama. That is not good. That is not good. That is not good. Let's change this a unwarned tornado. Alright, there we go. Unwarned tornado, unwarned tornado, unwarned tornado. If you're in this area just to the east of Kinsey, Alabama, you need to be in your safe spot because there is an unwarned tornado heading your way right now. That is on the ground, definitely on the ground here. Tornado on the ground near Kinsey, Alabama. That's a little off-centered, actually. Yep, definitely tornado on the ground. Maybe still on the ground, it may have lifted. But that definitely could still be a brief, weak tornado on the ground near Kinsey, Alabama. And we have a tornado warning. Observed tornado warning in Alabama. Tornado on the ground just to the east of Kinsey, Alabama here. Yep, we have a tornado on the ground in Alabama, heading towards Columbia, Alabama here. That is not good. That is not good at all. Tornado on the ground. Oh my goodness. Let's see what the velocity signature is like. That tornado may be lifting at this point, but we still should keep that tornado warning because we definitely could see more tornadoes along this line. If you're just joining, we at least just had a tornado on the ground near Kinsey, Alabama. Maybe it just lifted. We have this area of rotation to be south of Dothan, Alabama, on the northern edge of this tornado warning here. Does seem like it may be clear air contamination, actually. Ooh, hook. That is a definite hook there. There's a definite hook. Let's look at our velocities. Yep, tight velocity signature. Definitely could get a tornado soon from that. Let's check our correlation coefficient. Nothing yet. We don't know if there's a tornado on the ground, but that is a tight velocity signature, guys. That is a tight velocity signature just to the south of Theta, Alabama here, just so north of Graceville, Florida. That is a tight velocity signature that could produce a tornado at any time. So if you know anyone in this area, make sure to let them know because that could produce a tornado if it just tying up a little bit there near Fayette, Alabama, moving towards Cottonwood. I don't believe we have a tornado on the ground anymore with this storm. I don't believe so, actually. Unless, let's go to our... Yeah, seems to have lifted there. Although we still have tornadic potential with these storms, obviously, so don't just come out of your safe spots just because there's not a tornado on the ground, because these storms could definitely produce a tornado at any time. There we go, there we go. Alright. And we still have an area of rotation out there near Pleasant Plains. This is generally to the northeast and the east of Dawson. If you're in Columbia, Coworth, Ashford. If you are in Cottonwood, make sure you stay in your safe spot there. But places like Taylor, Reba, Slocum, you can come out of your safe spots now because the threat has passed for tornadoes. Although I would suggest watching the weather because there's a lot of rain behind you coming. So there could still be some flooding there, obviously, some minor flooding, and it's going to rain. So don't just go outside and play, or like go outside to do stuff, obviously, but just know that the main threat is over. And let's check our storm down here near Fayette, Alabama. Yep, decent hook there, decent hook there, decent hook there, decent hook there. Nothing for CC drops, but correlation coefficient drops is what I mean. But generally, still stay in your safe spot there because that is a really good looking hook. Going back up to our Kinsey, Alabama storm here. Generally, maybe a very, 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 very weak tornado on the ground right now. Not seeing anything too significant. That's probably a lifted. That's probably just debris being carried by the thunderstorm there. Generally not seeing anything too significant for tornadoes here, but we will keep an eye out. We have a new tornado warning down here in Florida for Bonifay, Chipley, heading towards, this is right over Caryville, Florida here, where we have a couple areas of rotation, very weak areas of rotation. Both obviously could tighten up quickly and produce brief tornadoes, so if you're in those areas there, make sure to stay in your safe spot. Yeah. Decent storm there. Storm. Florida. There we go. There's our Florida tornado warning there for Bonifay, Chipley, mainly areas built over two places that need to be in their safe spots right now. And these storms will continue to move east, and we could have a couple of lane spots make landfall near Panama City, Florida. So make sure you're prepared to go indoors if you have to for the tornado there. We still have a couple of tornado warnings up in Alabama here. This one's still observed. I don't think we have a... what happened? I don't think we have a tornado here anymore. Yeah, not any significant areas of rotation. This area of rotation got broader here in southern Alabama. Main storm we're going to have to watch is this one in Florida. That is... We could have twin tornadoes on the ground potentially if we can get a debris ball. Let's see if we have a CC drop on here. Yep, there's our velocity, there's our correlation coefficient. That could be a small tornado on the ground here, that northern one. Maybe that's just contamination up there, I don't know. But this southern one definitely could be a tornado at any time, so make sure you stay in your safe spot. If you're in areas to the south of Bonifay, Tripoli, or few of those towns, make sure you stay in your safe spots as well. Areas just to the north need to be in their safe spots too. Wait a second. Yeah, no. Alright, so yeah, areas of rotation are really getting weaker here. Even though we do have some tornado warnings here, I'm not seeing anything too significant. Still gonna have to watch that, but doesn't more seems like a broad area of rotation than anything. I might go ahead here and end the live stream now. Goodbye.